Hey everyone, and welcome back to looking at some Necromunda. This week we're going to be catching up with the news about the new Nomads, and I think it's going to be super exciting because it's really getting into the Ash Waste and expanding the ideas of the Nomads and the different clans there can be, because so far all we've had is a very singular aesthetic, very singular look at them with the models that they've got, and I think they could take it a little bit further. It could even become like an Underworld style spin-off if they had the inclination and time or whatever to make that. But it feels like this new book that's coming out and the new styles of Nomads they're showing, which are still, Desert Raider, still influenced by Dune and sort of Tatooine, but with their own little twist. And I think if you took this further yourself, the kit bashing potential to try and make your own clans, I feel like that's what this book is going to hopefully offer us. New stat blocks, maybe giving us lore about different clans and opening you up to creating your own narratives for those ones. So anyway, that's my initial ideas of what it seems like, but let's get in and have a look at this article. So here we are, the LVO preview from 2025. New Nomads rule the dunes of the Ash Waste. I'll play the video over the top of me speaking this initial introduction so you can see some of the great models they've got there, but this is what it says. Part of the action in Necromunda is currently focused on the blighted ruins of Hive Secundus, where noble spy hunters make sport of the mouse-strained gene stealers as other gangs scrabble through the wreckage for archaeotech relics. It's not such a simple task to get there, however, as raiding parties must travel across the sprawling Ash Waste, the deadlands that unfold between the towering Hive cities. The increase in activity has brought the Ash Waste Nomads out of hiding, determined to stake their claim to the storm-blasted dust dunes they call home. Ambushing unwary travellers with scavenged weapons fashioned from the gigantic mutant insects they raise as mounts, Shadar hunters are bad news for those who trespass on Ash Waste Nomad territory. Now, we already know a lot about the Ash Waste and their relationship to insects. The Hellamite, those big bugs that they ride on, and we've seen that horrific manta ray with like a huge gaping maw in its chest, which looks incredibly cool, and it's been, one of the themes. It's playing on that Dune idea of the worm, and they're sort of expanding upon it here with these new clans. First up, though, are these new models, and I think they're incredible straight off the bat. I think I would kind of like to look at them as like they're like chaos nomads. I know it's not exactly, but it's more horns, more sort of like mutated look in the sense of this first guy on the left with this big claw bone coming out of his fist. Looks like a warp blaster a little bit, has that kind of idea, and these claws on his hands, and also just the layers of detail. And it feels like this guy is bulkier, armored up, but in a very much like it's more wrapping. It feels like he's bulked up with padding, because it doesn't look like armor. It's not that sort of straight lines. It's very much like a big, heaviness to him. I can't really describe it better than that. But the way that all those different wrappings, the fur coming out, these sort of harder bone exoskeleton pieces that are put on the shoulder and across the front, kind of differentiate itself with the way that the lines and the forms and the shaping has been done to the cloth underneath, which is actually more like leather and sort of like flayed skin. I mean, you can't imagine how bloody hot they'd be in that Ash Waste, but it's really cool, and the backpacks look amazing, giving that verticality to them, which I think is something that's kind of reminiscent of the sort of old school Space Marines with their big backpacks kind of overshadowing their shoulders, kind of hunkers them down, but also gives them elevation, and you have these little motifs. And later on we'll see in the upgrades pack some things that kind of give me those feelings of banners, which I love about the Ash Waste. So yeah, very cool models. I love the head sculpts on here and everything really, just all the bits and pieces and detritus they've sort of added on. Like, moving on to this one, this sort of shaman looking character, which I know it isn't, but it's that sense, they've got huge horns coming out the backpack. You've got these like old school Chaos Terminator, like walrus style tusks coming out of the face on this guy on the left, with this claw between this spike. It's awesome. But the bit of hazard stripes, love some hazard stripes, obviously. So Necromunda, but also so Warhammer, And this like flagellant-like character here with the sort of things from the Rock style bombs, the sort of like, oh, it's a chain structure. I can't remember what he says.
Really elegant string of pearls configuration.
Love it. Again, every single one of these, the knotting on the cross of the backpack there. I was looking at that Orc Command set from the old world recently on the channel, and I was putting it together, and that's a resin sculpt, and the detail in some of the banner, which has got these wrapped bits of rope and netting and knots, and even the texture on everything was so incredible. And it feels like they're even getting that out of this now. These plastic models are just so incredible these days. And it continues on this one, and I love how we've gone from, on the left here, a bulky character, and then a sort of medium-sized bulk character, all the way to this clear rogue runner character with these 2 blades, real great pose, little tactical rock there jumping off. You can see how the backpack there on both of them is backpacks we've seen in other areas, so they're just like using the same pieces but getting completely different effects through them. So you got the same sort of running pose on these 2 ones on the right here, but just by adjusting the handhold and the mask they're wearing and the little extra bits they've got, you're still getting completely different models and chucking them on a rock and stuff like that. So you're getting quite a lot out of them. You definitely can see the similarities when you dig deeper into it, but yeah, I love all of these. What does it say next? Their almost supernatural ability to move unseen through the waste makes them ideal scouts, ensuring that every Nomad war party has the advantage. While they only wield close combat weapons, they are no less deadly than the gear manufactured in the Underhive, as they are coated with deadly venoms from wasteland beasties. They are joined by Arthromite spineworms. I want to say spireworms for some reason, but Arthromite spineworms, creatures that have tamed for their ferocity in combat. Burrowing through dunes, solid rock, and armor alike, when their jaws are locked, they won't be separated without their pound of flesh. Coupled with the anticoagulant properties of their saliva, a single bite is a death sentence. These are like caterpillars with terrifying chaos ant faces, and if you love your scary, awful buggies, these are perfect for you. Again, staying on the same theme and very cool, and just nice to have some additional bugs for you. The thing that it does make me want is the ultimate worm. You want some massive ultimate worm thing to be there, don't you? That they can have as like a super monster. I don't know. I know that it's not 40k, it's not grand armies, but there's a part of me that kind of feels like, how cool would it be to see some really epic style stuff for these gangs, and particularly the clans? Like, just even if it's like making a different, like a box game that is about, which is more of like an asymmetrical game where you've got huge sandworm style, big hulking Tarrasque beasties to fight against with your gangers, or clan, you're also nomads. I think that would be really cool. I think that could be something, and you can play as the beasts or something like that, or just asymmetric play is something that hasn't been fully explored in Warhammer, and I think it's something you could, Kingdom Death Monster sort of stuff, that kind of thing, just coming to mind. But anyway, Nomad war parties are gearing up with a new plastic weapons and upgrades kit. This features alternative heads and accessories, alongside some extra firepower, a heavy blaster, scavenge stub guns and autoguns, venom casters, blast carbines, and more. And we've seen some of this gear, but really there's a lot of new stuff in here. You've got these really cool banners, which I love. I think they're awesome. The guns, every single one of these guns is incredible. I mean, look at just the little bits of detail, the wrapping, the different ways that it's got like a little bit of hazard stripes. Love hazard stripes. As I said before, it clearly is cobbled together. It's very like crumbly mechanicum, I guess, like grungy mechanicum, and I love it, I really do. You'll get rules for all the above in Necromunda Tribes of the Wastelands. This is another House of Star release, greatly expanded the options available for Ash Waste Nomads, comprising extracts from the 3 of the most famous pieces of written work on the Ash Waste Nomads, updated gang rules, new hired guns and dramatis personae, themed scenarios, a trading post, and some more mystical additions besides. Great. I think this is like such a perfect opportunity to expand the Ash Waste and Necromunda generally. go into the different tribes of the Wasteland and give us so many different options for different tribes and building our own tribes. I'm so up for that. I think getting like Underworld packs and like 4 little gangers in a pack that you can have to fight against each other in short like skirmish games, just chuck it in the Underworld system for Christ's sake. I don't know, or just even in that, just some more like lore for us to go and kit bash our own Nomads. So I'm really up for that. Those who eke out a precipitous living in the waste will be happy to know that there will soon be safer observation posts and living quarters available with the Phaetos Pattern Fortified Hub module. This new release takes the existing hub module kit and slaps on a load of reinforcements, making it a perfect place to hunker down during a skin-shredding dust storm. It's great. If you look at it, it's so much more gear. I love the crow's nest, but you've got loads of guns, like sort of massive, they look like grenade launchers mixed with machine guns. It's just definitely a more fortified beast and feels like very appropriate if you're going for your like dust wall sort of gameplay. I'm just thinking about this, that whole ring that runs around Secundus and like keeps everyone from the Xenos threat in there. Seems perfect for that sort of game. Anyone who makes it through the waste to the subterranean carcass of High Secundus is of course rewarded with a deadly maze of twisted metal to explore. You can create your own tenebrous labyrinth with the help of the ruined Underhive sector box, which collects 3 existing ruined Zone Mortalis boxes into one, providing you with a staggering 72 terrain pieces to furnish your gaming board. Great, look at those. You know what? The thing with Necromunda, and particularly when you're like in the Underhive or like the Secundus, is you really want to feel enclosed and it to feel like overloaded with walls and verticality, because that's sort of how the game wants to be. I just remember the old Necromunda sets are all about getting up levels and tight spaces, and you want close combat gunfights, you want people trying to get up to snipe, you want people to be able to use, I like that new Venator rule with the hide in shadows, so you want your Gene Stealers to pop out of nowhere. I think, therefore, more terrain, if they can get that cheaper by putting 3 boxes into one, and hopefully that's a cheaper buy for people, then yeah, you can then make yourself a real crunchy, dense board. I think that's really cool. So I don't really think there's anything in there that really isn't awesome. I'm really excited to get this book and see more of it. I'm really interested to see what they mean by the different rules for different clans, and if it is what I think it can be, which is an opportunity here to really delve deep into your own nomad tribe. I think that could be really cool. Anyway, that's everything for the Nomads for today. I'm sure we will be back to look at that book when it comes out, because as I said, I'm super interested to see what it is, and if there's any more reveals, I'm going to try and be a little bit more up to date with them. Now I'm back in the chair and back organizing everything again. So yeah, that's everything. If you want to see more information about Necromunda, I do a whole lore series about the history of. I started looking through the Orenthian Succession. You can see me talk all the way through the first book, as well as how to choose a gang, what books you need to play, because it's confusing as heck, and I'm going to have to probably update that with all these new releases coming out. And on top of that, I've got RPGs. We played Wolfrup and into our Adventures in Mordheim series, and so much more. So yeah, go check out the rest of the channel, give us a subscribe, and you can catch up with all Necromunda things. One of the next videos I'm going to be looking at is how to run a Dominion campaign. It's a question that's come up a couple of times on the channel, and I think looking at the Venator's rules last week, I really realized that that's actually a key part of the game and would be worthwhile to sort of explain to everyone. So check that out, coming out soon. And in the meantime, that's everything really, and you stay safe in the Underhive. Bye everyone.